Just 4-3. Um, 2-1, I guess, in the Mountain West Conference, and about to embark on where things change, but embarking on where we will be the underdog right now as we stand these next 5 games, right? We've played 7. We're 4-3. We will be a considerable underdog these next 5 games. With that said, that's fine. That's fine. And things do change. Teams get better down the stretch. A lot of things happen. So the reality is we're going to be the underdog in the next 5 games starting this week. But we're also in a position where we can hopefully change that. So we've got an opportunity. And, that's how I look at it. It's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting to just be in it right now with some potential good things happening. But we also know, and we're also realistic of where we are as we continue to build. 3 years ago, let's just go 2 years ago. 2 years ago, San Jose State was 6-6. 3 years ago, they were 11-2. 4 years, I guess, ago, they were 5-6. And the byproduct of that is you're recruiting some good players in a place where there's a lot of players right there, right outside their doorstep. So it's a lot like Nevada. It's a lot like Nevada. You look, San Jose State went and played Auburn in the SEC. The stats were dominating in San Jose State's favor. Just like really Nevada went and played Texas A&M in College Station. It was a 42-27 game, a very competitive game. Nevada came home and played UNLV, a big rival, the week before we played them, and they got beat. San Jose State came home and played San Diego State last week, a very big rival, and they got beat. And then here come the Lobos. So a lot of similarities, in my mind, to going to Nevada. Nevada is a football team that's been to bowl games 9 of the last 10 years. We play the game at 4 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock here. It's en route. A lot of similarities to us going to Nevada, in my mind. If we want the results to be different, we need to prepare differently, and we certainly need to play differently going in there. And so, kind of in a nutshell, that's where it is. We're in it. We've got some good things potentially ahead for us, but we also realize that we're going to be a decided underdog the next 5 weeks of the season, unless something changes, and things do change. And hopefully we control what changes down the stretch. But we realize still what the challenge is here, what the challenge is moving forward. So with that said, Rick, you want to start it off?
I know you don't read the paper, you still go online, just try to insulate yourself from that. But I'm sure you were this kind of a groundswell for Austin, just like there was for Lamar last year. Do you try to insulate the players from that, or is that possible?
I don't think we really even deal with it. And honestly, I'm not, maybe when I was a younger coach, I might have said I insulate myself from it, but you kind of do take a peek at it. I'm way beyond that right now. I mean, I don't look at anything, and I really don't hear anything. Of course, I don't live in a naive world because I'm based on just within our own group. I think the way you look at it is, where are we right now today? And what do we need to do to give ourselves a chance to win this game? It's that simple. So that entails coming in Sunday morning at 7 o'clock after a Saturday night game, bringing the players in Sunday, all day yesterday as coaches, from 7 o'clock until about 9 o'clock last night, just looking at San Jose State, and then deciding who gives us the very best chance as an underdog to go win this football game. So, what the groundswell is, or what the momentum is, or what people think it should be, I'm just glad people care enough to have an opinion. I appreciate the people that stuck around long enough to watch Austin all 12,000 of them maybe that were there late in the game to see that last drive. I'm sure those are the ones that have the opinion because they stayed. So not trying to be sarcastic, it all comes back to what we see as coaches and how we give ourselves the best chance to win based on where we are right now with this team after 7 games. So, you know, it's quite honestly what Austin has done in the fourth quarter at Wyoming, or at Nevada, and in the last 2 minutes of this game plays a role in this. But I also know that the reason we were able to do that is because we ran the ball. I mean, both Nevada and Hawaii prepared for us to run the football. And I know in this program, as we continue to go forward, we have to be different. We have to be different. We have to have a uniqueness. We have to keep our identity. We can't be like everybody else. So, I mean, I could stand here and give a 10-minute dissertation on all the thought that goes into that situation. To give you any tangible answer, I guess what Austin has done hasn't gone unnoticed by us. Obviously, maybe he is a difference maker. Maybe he is a difference maker. And I don't think that it's all or nothing. You know, the people that have watched Austin, as you have, in the fourth quarter against Nevada or the last 2 minutes against Hawaii, saw him do only one thing. He's not only one thing. In the same token, the people that have watched Lamar have seen Lamar, when we're running our regular stuff, doing what he did, and maybe not has as many opportunities to do what Austin did at the end of the game. So I don't think it's quite as dramatic as all or nothing schematically with either one. I don't think it's all that dramatic of who is the guy and who isn't the guy just at that moment, because I think our football team's pretty smart, and I think we all have the eye on one target, who gives us the best chance to win. So it's not nearly as dramatic inside these offices as what maybe it is on the outside. You know, that's a pretty good argument for people on the outside. It's always about who's the quarterback. That's a pretty easy fan-driven article that in every city in the country, they have that going in San Jose right now, I'm sure. That's easy. You know, so everything's on the table, everything's being discussed of how do we get better to win a game.
Coach, it's obviously a team play. Somebody's got to block for Austin. Somebody's got to catch that great spiral he threw. He had to throw it, execute it. There's a mindset in you, inspirational moment. Can that moment lead you to more victories down the stretch? I'm hoping.
You know, you don't take those 80-yard drives for granted. Certainly the young man that missed the field goal gave us the opportunity, but all that was an opportunity. The guy that missed the field goal, or the fact that they missed the field goal, had nothing to do with us taking the ball 80 yards in 2 minutes and scoring. So we had an opportunity. We were able to take advantage of an opportunity. But again, I go back to we've been in this situation before where whether it was my first year and we were 4-3, and we came back from Hawaii and we went to Air Force that week. Now, granted, we lost 2 quarterbacks, and they were only 2 quarterbacks we had on the team, and lost late to Air Force. We had a chance to go to Nevada 2 weeks ago, as I've just talked about. It gives us a chance to be in it and another chance to maybe take advantage of an opportunity. Maybe like the field goal kicker gave us against Hawaii. But you still have to go take advantage of it. You know, it's all just talk. So we got a fighting chance.
What about San Jose State's offense? I mean, they are switching quarterbacks, but also have a really good running back. Really good.
The running back wears number 7. He reminds you in a lot of ways of Terrion Gibson. Really, the way he plays, the size, the quickness, the suddenness, the versatility. He's really a good player. You know, they had 430 yards, I think, on Auburn. They are very balanced. Al Borges, the offensive coordinator, grew up in the West Coast offense. When he was at Michigan, he had Denard Robinson, so he went spread. Tremendous background, tremendous wealth of football, and they have really good players. Again, that 5-7, 11-2, 6-6 record there, 3 years in a row, just a couple years ago. They've got some really good players in that program. There's no question. They're good offensively.
Rocky's game plan last week for San Diego State, did you take anything from that game plan? Because he pounded the ball and spread it around, and it was a good victory for the Aztecs.
Right.
So is there anything from that game plan you saw on film that the Lobos can adopt?
Yeah, I mean, we like to think we're a similar style. You know, we're not as good. We're not as good. We're a little different flavor doing what we do with our personnel, obviously. But definitely, I mean, you know, the success they had against a very, very good team. A team coming off a big late win against Vegas, coming home to play. San Diego State coming back from Hawaii, going in there and doing what they did. It was impressive, impressive. And, you know, so certainly we've studied that tape as we had every tape. They did a great job. They did a great job, yeah. We watch everything.
What did San Diego State do to hold them to 148 total yards of offense?
Mauled them a little bit. You know, I mean, play extremely fast, play really well. They do what they do. You know, they do what they do, and they got on a roll. And, you know, just like kind of a fast break, slam dunk kind of basketball team on defense, when they get on a roll and they're causing havoc and they're getting you rattled, you guys have seen it. It continued all night long, and San Jose State couldn't get it solved. You know, so it was just the momentum of things. But I tell you, they play hard. They play really good. They play a lot of man. They are exactly what they are, and they did a heck of a job. I mean, they got after them.
You have takeaways in 17 of your last 18 games. Was that an emphasis coming into this year defensively? Be more aggressive to make those takeaways?
Yeah, I think probably, JP, every school in the country on defense now, even more than ever in the past, because it is so hard to just consistently stop people. It is, regardless of how good your players are, how you match up. It's hard to consistently stop people. So there's two major emphasis for us: tackles for losses, sacks, and turnovers, particularly with our. You know, we're undersized. I mean, there's no question about that. We're not real big. So we have to create negative plays. And that's probably the most positive thing, quite honestly, this year compared to past years. We are on track to do some really good things with that.
Coach, so Garrett Hughes come out of that one game, the game last week. How healthy are you guys up front?
We're beat up. I mean, we've got 3 defensive ends. Kenny Okonkwo, he's out. Garrett Hughes is doubtful, very doubtful. And Chris Lee is, I would say, doubtful. You know, the good news is Cody Baker, a true freshman, came in the second half, played really well, and he's going to be really a good player. And Nick DeVonzo, although he's beat up, is pretty steady. You know, so we're about as nicked up as you can be, and unfortunately it hits at one position. So it's not a whole lot different than it was the whole second half against Hawaii. We're just going into a game that way. You know, Sam Mabani is somewhat healthier. We did move Jack Ziltz back from offense this week. You know, we made that move yesterday. Again, how that goes, I don't know. William Uday has played some end, so he's working as a nose, swinging to end, which would put Taylor Timmons in the game. You know, the only concern is everybody has injuries. It's just ours have all kind of happened at that one position. The good news is, knock on wood, you know, we follow with an open date. All 3 of those guys, there's a good chance they can be back for that home stretch.
Is it tough to prepare for a San Jose State, a team in conference that you haven't seen?
Not really. You know, you know, Al Borges is the first-year offensive coordinator there, so even if they were in our division and we played them last year as a division foe, we're still preparing for Al Borges.
Coach, what's the morale like in the locker room? Being able to experience winning, having 4 wins, probably more than any guy has won at the college level on your team.
I think it's still in our minds underachieving. It really is. I don't know that we've played as good as we're capable of altogether for 4 quarters. You know, that old cliche. Obviously, the New Mexico State and Hawaii game jump out defensively. How can you go from being so bad in the first half to so good in the second half? Offensively, we've done some really good things at times. You know, kicking game, we've been pretty consistent, really, particularly now since Zach Rogers is in there. But I think it's more of the thing of, we're 4-3, but we know we have to get better. We know we have to get better, and we think we can get better. So I think it's a little bit more of an expectation kind of a morale right now than, boy, okay, look, we won 4 games. It's been a long time since New Mexico's won 4 games. Man, we got to get better. We're becoming a little more mature as a team and a program, I think.
Coach, what's the status of the 2 guys that have been suspended?
They're back. They're back. Yeah, both of those guys. I don't take it lightly suspending guys. That's something to me because obviously it's in the media. Guys' names are in the media. One guy had a B in that class. One guy had a C in that class. They did some things they shouldn't have done by showing up late and leaving early. And I think a statement needed to be made because there was a little bit of a pattern there developing with those guys. And we spend a lot of money, we spend a lot of time to check kids' classes, to provide all kind of opportunities for guys academically, and I didn't feel like they appreciated that, and they needed to have something taken away from them. They served a major penalty. Both those guys would have started last week for us. But I'm not going to compromise when it comes to that. We have to be different to win here. We have to be different. And I don't think many people around the country are sitting starters down because they came in late for a class or they left early after we checked the class. But I don't think we can be like everybody else and win here.
Do you go back up to the front, or do you expect them to start this week?
I think it'll depend on how they practice. I'm not going to hold a grudge against the guy. I penalized them, and they're back, so they have a clean slate and an opportunity to grow and move forward. So how it works out, Van, it'll be if they're the guy to start, they'll start. Yeah.
You had the 100-yard kickoff return in this game. Michigan State was decided on a special teams. I mean, as a coach, how do you approach special teams as an asset that can win or lose a game for you?
Well, again, in our situation, that edge has to be our edge in special teams. But, I actually watched that Michigan State game, the final last night for the first time. About 10 o'clock, I guess, I'm sitting on the couch with Joanne. ESPNU is replaying that game. And unbelievable. I mean, the blood being sucked out of your body, if you're a Michigan fan, coach, player, was unbelievable. And I tell you, Sean McDonough, if you guys haven't seen that call, he did an unbelievable job on that call. Of making that call, and then when Michigan State scored, of just sitting out and let that thing breathe with the emotion in the stadium. That's one of the best calls by a guy during a game, Sean McDonough. Set it up, said the only thing that can hurt them is this. Then all of a sudden, when the kid dropped the ball, his voice and then laying out, the emotion of that was unbelievable. It really was. Coincidentally, before we left the hotel on Saturday to go to the game, I bring the whole team up and just talk a couple minutes before we leave. And I said, we haven't played Hawaii in 4 years. I said, so they probably don't really realize kickoff return-wise how good we've been, and they certainly may not realize how good number 24 is. And I said, I'm betting you they kick that first kickoff down that middle of the field because they just don't know. And darn if they didn't kick it down the middle of the field. Reese White got a great block, and Carlos makes it 7-7. I don't think we'll see that again. I don't think we'll see it again.
Coach, coaches are addicted to the details. When a guy catches a ball like that and he fumbles it, can you coach them enough to know time and what the reality is? Because he could have just fallen on the ball.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that, I've got a couple of those. I have one at Michigan State in 1998 where it was a 4th down and about 10. And we're going to win the game. We're up by 4 points. They got one play left from the 35-yard line with 65 yards to score. And I called timeout, brought the defense over, going through the decisions. They hit a slant on us. The kid goes 65 yards and wins the game, basically the last play of the game. I had one at Purdue where we had the ball on the maybe 1 foot line with 16 seconds left in that game. 3rd down, clock stopped, 16 seconds left in the game. We think we have time for 2 plays. We're going to run the ball twice. We couldn't get the 4th down. We busted the 3rd down. Chaos erupts. We couldn't get the 4th down snap off. Those things haunt you for life. And every coach, with everything that happens like that late in the game, or in the case of the kid from Texas tweeting at halftime and all they went through with the tweet, You come back the next week and you go through everything like that. And you know, those moments. So to answer your question, I rambled a little bit. It's all experience, man. You know, and some things do happen for the first time. And Jim Harbaugh, hearing him go through it, he went through the whole scenario. Should we scramble around, try to throw the ball up in the air and use 10 seconds? They made the right decision. But when that kid dropped the ball, was he told to just go down on that ball? Do not panic. It's being told now around the country. You know, I mean, that's hard. You can't prepare for every single situation. You cannot prepare for every situation. Kids have to make decisions, man. And it's, you know, there's been a lot of great decisions made by players that coaches get credit for. A lot. Maybe New England against Indianapolis, that kid that tackled the guy on the fake punt, he may have never been, that exact thing may have never gone over. He made a great play, and all of a sudden their coaching staff gets great credit, right? We get great credit for an 80-yard drive. Well, you know what? Austin Apodaca and Gamblin and Carlos making that catch over there on 3rd and 10 right in front of their bench, they get the credit. You know, so players got to go play, man, and so they got to make plays.
Coach, that went to a little kick in your step. You looked pretty happy when you shook the hand of the Hawaii coach. You had a smile, he had a frown. Then you looked pretty happy trotting to the locker room. What was the feeling in you?
Thank God, man. No, you know, you watch way more of that than probably most people. I guess you follow me, but no, I've said this a lot. You know, man, it's an unforgiving game, and you know, Norm Child's been doing this a long time, and you know, I actually, you know, it was an unforgiving game the way that thing happened there at the end, and you know, you picture those guys getting back to Hawaii like they get back to, and what that all is after you lose one like that. You know, so that was more a piece of it, just between he and I. And, you know, again, man, it gave us life, right? We're sitting here 4-3. Obviously, that was huge right there. So I'm not sure how to answer it other than that's what that was. I mean, you appreciate other coaches and players, too, now. I mean, this is a brutal game.
As happy as you were, is it any part of you felt bad for Sanchez, the Hawaii kicker?
I can't dig that deep. I can't dig that deep, man. I can't. Now, that's the first field goal missed against us all year. All year, right? So we deserved maybe a little good karma. And honestly, right after the game, it was brutal during the game, the frustrations of the first half. That was brutal on us. You know, just how that was playing out, kind of like New Mexico State again. As soon as the game's over, it's about how do we get better? Yeah, we're having fun right now, and this is great. I'm so appreciative of everything, but I'd kind of like to do this again before this season's over. And if we don't get better, we won't. So, you know, you quickly turn to how's Garrett Hughes? Is he going to play next week? What's up with Chris Lee? How's Kimmy? He didn't play late with the shoulder. You know, it's a pretty quick transition, man, until it's on to the next one now.
Coach Apodaca, when he threw the pass, the touchdown pass, you know, everybody kind of looked for the touchdown pass, but he got hit pretty darn hard, didn't he? And but then Root went home to look, and they didn't really show it. And so I just wondering how hard he got.
Just like me. You know, that corner came from the far boundary. I didn't even see him come. I didn't hear anybody on the headset, oh no, the corner's coming. All I see is the little hitch move and the pump, and there's Gambo making that catch. I didn't realize that corner came, and it was bang, bang. I didn't see that either until that night when I watched the tape. And it was like, oh my God, you know, I mean, that was that quick from either being a touchdown or hitting him and maybe that ball flies up in the air. I mean, it's incredible, right? You go back to not a whole lot different, maybe in a different way than against Boise out here last year on 4th down. If we get that first down with 4 minutes left in the game, maybe that's a whole different thing, right? I mean, there's so many of those scenarios in this game. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Coach, you may have been asked about this already, but one of the cool things from the broadcast was seeing Lamar come up to Austin immediately after play. He's jumping all over him. Just your reaction to that, and even though they're competing against each other to be starters, to have that moment.
Yeah, I was told that as soon as it happened. You know, I was told as soon as it happened. I think they showed it maybe on the board here somehow. Maybe they somehow that was shown. And I mean, that is Lamar. I mean, Lamar is a competitive guy. If you told him tomorrow, Lamar, you're going to corner, or Lamar, you're going to wide receiver. I really believed Lamar would go do that and do it. So yeah, I mean that's a great feeling. You know, that's a credit to that room. You know, so that was. I mean, that's one of those hidden things that we definitely made a point of with our team. Definitely made a point of with our team. As we did, Lee Crosby intercepts that ball at the end. Instead of just sliding, he does some kind of flip. And if you see our sidelines, when he intercepts it, you see people, I didn't even know some of them who they were, like going, down, get down, get down. You know, and then he flipped, you know. But, yeah, it's another one of those coaching things, right? How'd you like to lose a game, a guy doing a flip and the ball comes out before he hits the ground?
Run it back for a touchdown? Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. All right, guys, we good?